everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and once again I'm coming to you with another product review. And today we're going to be looking at something that is supposed to protect your firearms. No, it's not a cleaner, it's not a CLP, it's a gun wax. In fact, this is gun armor from York's Wax. Now, this is a very small company that has prided themselves on making chemical-free waxes for firearms that is supposed to protect them from rust and corrosion, but also add luster to your guns. And I know many of you are like me and have very expensive firearms in your collection. And you might even be a little bit OCD like myself and really like to clean your guns well. Well, when you put them in the safe and maybe you don't touch them for a few months because your collection is so large and you just can't get around to all of them, how do you protect those guns? Well, this product is supposed to do that exact thing. Once again, this is not a CLP. This is not a product that you are supposed to clean your guns with. Once you have cleaned your guns, you apply this. And this is an extra step some people might not want to take. But I have used many products over the years, and I am excited to see how this one holds up. This is also a scented wax. It says it's Winter Storm, so I really have no idea what that is supposed to smell like. But I want to adjust the camera. I want to show you how I apply this, and we're going to try it on a few different types of firearms and different finishes, just to see what it looks like and how easy it is to apply. So let me adjust the camera, and let's take a closer look at York's Wax Gun Armor. So here is the container the York's Wax Gun Armor comes in. The scent is Winter Storm. It's made in small batches. It's an organic chemical-free wax with grade 1 carnauba. So let me go ahead and open this up and show you the product. It's just a basic white paste. And I can already smell it from here. And it smells really nice, but let me get in really close. And it smells like Irish Spring soap. So if you're familiar with that brand, it really does smell nice, and it's not overpowering. So it doesn't have any type of oil scent to it. So if you're used to gun oils, it smells completely different and very pleasant. So I did bring out a few different guns here to try this out on, and all of these guns have been cleaned. Now, as I mentioned, this is a product that is designed to protect your firearms. And for the most part, I like to use this type of a product when I'm going to be putting a gun up in the safe for a long period of time. And I really want to have something that is going to prevent rust and corrosion as it gets into the pores of the material the firearms are made of. So we're going to try this out first on a blued Beretta 950 BS. But before I apply it, I want to warm this up. This paste is a little bit thick, and typically what I like to do is use a hair dryer and warm it up a little bit so it begins to soften up and run. Then I'm going to take a towel and lightly dab it and then apply it to the finish. Now, the reason that I like to do this is I can get a very controlled amount on the gun. A lot of times people complain about products like this because it gums up the action. But often that is because I think people apply way too much. I think you really should apply a very light coat. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on this hair dryer, warm this up, and we're going to try it on a blued finish first. All right, so I've warmed it up. I think I've softened it up a little bit, but it's not super runny. It seems to hold its consistency. I'm going to put a little dab here on the rag, and yep, it comes off relatively easy. So let's see what it does to this blued finish. So let me show you the before image here. The gun looks pretty good. I love the look of blued steel. So I'm going to lightly apply this to the slide. I'm going to make sure that I don't get any in the action or the small parts. I'm just going to lightly rub it on and get it all over. But once again, just have a basic thin coat. And I can also tell you that this garage now smells absolutely awesome. It's a great scent, and I like the fact it doesn't smell like your typical gun oils. I put just a little bit more on. As you can see, it's just a very, very small dab. And once I get it evenly applied, I will wipe off any excess, and then I'm going to let it sit for a minute so this wax can get into all of the pores of the metal, and then I'm going to wipe it down. I kind of feel like when you wax a gun, it's like waxing a car. You have to apply it, let it sit for a little bit, and then take it off. So I'm going to let that sit for just a minute or so, and then we'll wipe it down and see if it changed anything. So it's been a few minutes and I think this wax has cooled down. So now let me just take the rag once again and wipe it off and get off any excess. And hopefully it's going to make this gun shine a little bit more and the camera will catch it. So it comes off relatively easy. It's not leaving any weird residue. I like that. And man, that really did shine up that pistol. I can see a huge difference. Look at that reflection. I also feel pretty confident that that is going to put a layer of protection on this gun, which would prevent it from rusting. And I definitely recommend using a product like this if you live in a humid climate like in Florida or maybe South Texas. I know a lot of people down in Houston have problems with guns in their safes getting a little bit rusted. But let me tell you, I see a noticeable difference in person. And I think you can see the reflectivity of that finish now. That looks fantastic, and that was just with a little dab of that. That looks great. So on a blued finish, I think it looks absolutely fantastic. So next, let's try stainless steel. All right, so I've warmed the wax back up, and we'll start by taking a look at the current state of the finish on my Colt Commander 100-year anniversary. This is a pistol that I carry a lot, and I love the look of stainless steel. We also have some really nice wood grips on this, which were provided to the channel from Brownworks, and Mark over there makes some amazing grips as well. So we're going to try this wax out on this wood as well as the stainless steel. So let's go ahead and gently apply a very small dab like before all over the gun. And once again, I'm careful not to let it get all caught up in all of these small parts. I'm really trying to use a very small amount of it. I think it's all you really need. And let's try it here on these wood grips and the aluminum frame. So the slide is stainless, the frame is aluminum. So I guess we're kind of trying three different metals out here, or three different materials: stainless, aluminum, and wood. And let me get some more on these grips on this side as well. And according to their information, this is safe on wood as well. All right, just a little bit more here on the top, on the satin finish or the bead blasted finish. And I'm just using a very, very small amount here. All right, so we have covered this pistol as well in the gun wax. So once again, let's give it a minute and then we're going to wipe it off. All right, so it's been a few minutes, so let's wipe this Colt Commander down and let's see if we notice any changes with the three different materials we're trying it out on: stainless steel, aluminum, and wood. This is really easy to get off, and as I mentioned before, it doesn't seem to leave any type of residue. It's not sticky and it's not oily either. All right, so let's take a look at the stainless steel first. And yeah, it definitely adds some reflectivity to it. It makes it look really nice. On the aluminum, I don't notice much of a change, which I wasn't really expecting to. But on the wood grips, look at that. Yeah, you also get a nice shine. And it's not very slippery either. So if that's going to be a concern about applying this on your grips, I don't think you really have to worry about it. You definitely feel it. It feels a little bit more slick and smooth, but you're not going to feel like it's oily, like you're going to lose control of it. But you definitely know there's some type of chemical on it. But overall, I think you're still going to get a good purchase on the grip. All right, so while this might not change many differences on this gun as much because of the material it's made of, I want to try it out next on a more modern handgun like this Walther PDP. So once again, let me warm up the wax. We'll apply it to this gun and see what it does to a more modern finish. All right, so we have this wax warmed up and ready to be applied again. But let's take a look at the finish on this Walther PDP. It's your typical matte black finish. I'm not really sure what this wax is going to do on this one. I definitely think it will protect it, but this gun also has a lot of sharp edges and a lot of stippling in the grip, so we'll see how this wax handles that. Once again, just put a little bit on the rag, and let's start up here on the slide. And yeah, this is getting caught up in all the small places. Now for me, that's not really a big deal, but I know for a lot of you who might be impatient and maybe not like to clean your guns, this can be a real chore. But I like to take my time when I clean my guns. So there's the slide. Now let's try the grip. And yeah, as expected, it's getting all up in there. So this might be a little bit difficult to get out. But if it is, sometimes I've discovered that if you use that hairdryer again and warm it up, you can get it to flow a little bit better and get it out of the grip texture. All right, so once again, let's just let this sit for a few minutes. And once it dries, we'll wipe it off and see if we can tell a difference. So it's been about 5 minutes, so let's see if we can clean this wax out of all of these small crevices of the slide and the frame. It's coming out pretty easy, but as you can see, we still have a few spots in there I'm going to have to take my time with and really dig it out. But that's to be expected with a gun with so many straight lines and 90-degree angles. And the other part of the gun I was curious about was the grip. And you can see we have that wax buildup in the texture. So let's see if we can get that out. It's coming out mostly, but we still got a little bit in there. So I'll try tackling it from a couple of different angles. And yes, I got it. But once again, I think if you really needed to, you could get that hair dryer out and heat that wax up. It would flow, and you would be able to get it out of your own grip if need be. And it looks like I do have a little bit of buildup, which I tried to avoid here in the extractor. So I'll get a Q-tip and dig that out. And that's looking a lot better. And it's really important that regardless of what chemical you use or wax or whatever it is, make sure you don't let it get in all of those small components of your gun because it could ruin its performance. All right, so with this gun all wiped down, let's take a look at it now. All right, the finish looks very nice. It looks very clean, almost like it did the day I picked this gun up. It's a little bit more reflective, but it's not going to give you a polished look by any stretch of the imagination. So I think this would be a great idea, once again, if you're just looking for something to protect your pistols, if you're looking to own guns like this and don't really have a lot of stuff that is blued or stainless steel. But as you can see, it seems to work well on a number of different finishes. All right, so the last thing I want to do is test it out on a modern sporting rifle. So I do have my Seekins Precision 300 Blackout build here. And this is aluminum. Once again, it's anodized aluminum. And I'm curious how it's going to make this look. So there's the original finish. But let's go ahead and warm up that wax one more time, apply it to this gun. Then I'll readjust the camera and I'll give you my final thoughts. All right, so one more gun to try this out on. We've already tried it out on the aluminum frame of the Colt Commander, but now let's try it out on an evil black scary rifle. All right, so we'll start with the upper receiver first. And obviously we're going to use a little bit more than we did on the pistols. I might not do the whole gun right now, but we'll try it out here on this side and see what changes. And being an anodized finish, it has a little bit of a texture to it. So it seems to be sticking to it a little bit more than just the smooth blued finishes. All right, so we'll just do the receivers for right now. And as you can see, we got that wax all up in all the small parts. So once again, let's just wait a few minutes, wipe it off, and see what we discover. And once again, it's been about 4 or 5 minutes, so let's wipe all this wax off. And I'm not really expecting much of a finish difference on this gun. I kind of feel like this is a product that really bodes itself well for wood, blued steel, classic guns, 1911s, Browning high powers, that kind of stuff. You can definitely use it on these more modern firearms. And there's nothing wrong with that. It just adds that extra layer of protection. And we have a little bit of wax right there. So let me get that Q-tip once again to get it out of that little crevice. All right, so now let's take a look at this finish. And here on this AR, I don't really see much of a difference. In fact, I kind of see a little bit of a film where I didn't get it all off. So on a gun like this, I would have to be very meticulous. But on the pistols, especially the blued finished ones, it comes off like you would expect. So here is the unwaxed part of the receiver. And there is the waxed part of the receiver. Maybe a little bit of a difference, but I can tell you the gun does smell pretty darn nice. All right, so that's me trying out this wax on 4 different guns. So now let me talk about everything I discovered and what I think about how it affects various finishes. So we tried York's Gun Wax Gun Armor out on 4 different firearms with 4 different finishes. And what did I discover? Well, overall, it works pretty well and it smells fantastic. If you're buying this simply to protect your guns, I think it's fine on everything. But if you're buying it to really make the finish pop, well, it's going to make any blued finish, wood finish, or stainless steel finish look fantastic. But when it comes to the more modern finishes on tactical guns, not so much. In fact, because of the general texture of it, it's a little bit hard to get off. On the AR, it left a little bit of streaking and residue, but on the blued finish, it wiped right off. On the stainless steel finish, it really made it reflect light very well. It made it look smooth and freshly oiled. So I do like that. So I think you really have to decide what you would want this product to do for the guns in your collection. But it would definitely work on everything. So on my star system, how would I rate York's Gun Wax Gun Armor? Well, I'm going to give it 4.5 stars out of 5. It almost works great on everything. But if you're like me and have a lot of tactical guns, it might not be the best product. Maybe just going with an oily rag would really help those finishes the best. But when it comes to your classic guns, royal blue guns, like the Colt Python, or maybe a really nice Colt 1911 that you're really trying to protect, or a Browning high power, I think it's really going to make those finishes look fantastic. And it's definitely going to make your garage or gun room smell great. So 4.5 stars out of 5 for York's Gun Wax Gun Armor. A great product, and I'm really happy that they sent it to the channel for review. I've really enjoyed making this, and I love to try out all of these different products because I really enjoy cleaning guns. I'm kind of OCD, and now I have something new in my arsenal to have on hand to just make them look good. So tell me what you think about products like this in the comment section below, and have you ever used York's Gun Wax? I would love to know. So, as always, thanks for watching.